this episode of the Breaking and Entering Advertising podcast, I chat with Lauren Branstetter about what she looks for when she recruits for creative roles for Leo Burnett. Lauren specifically enjoys recruiting for entry-level creatives, making her a perfect guest for this podcast. We waste no time in this episode. We take up the entire time understanding what it takes to get hired as a copywriter or art director at one of the agencies that pioneered our industry. I enjoyed hearing about her process as she scans through portfolios, as she tells us what she looks for, what she loves, and what she avoids. You'll be surprised at how many portfolios she flipped through the day I talked to her. It's a lot. So if you're building your portfolio, dreaming of landing a spot at Leo Burnett or ARC, or are interested in creative recruiting, this episode is for you. But wait, there's more. If you head to our Instagram, at Entering Ad, we have a secret hidden link that includes Lauren's contact info and her recommended resources to stay creative and knowledgeable in the industry. Also, you'll want to see Buchan's graphics. He does spectacular work. Now, on with the show. This is the Breaking and Entering Advertising podcast, and as usual, I'm your accomplice, Gino Schallenberger. Kick it, Mikey. Lauren Branstetter, welcome to the Breaking and Entering Advertising podcast. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you for coming. This is going to be a fun episode. You are a senior creative recruiter at Publicis / Leo Burnett / ARC Worldwide. What does that mean? Is that all of them? Is that just Leo? Is that just ARC?
It's a
What is
mouthful.
Publicis? What is all of that? Tell me, please.
It's just a mouthful altogether. So I work for Publicis North America, but I sit, air quotations, because it's obviously virtual, but I'm out of the Leo Burnett Chicago office. So recruiting for them and ARC Worldwide. And we kind of did like this creative collective Publicis announced. So now as different agencies have needs and recruiters have bandwidth, we get to hop on, the different asks. So I currently have a role for, one out of Leo Burnett, one out of ARC Worldwide, and then I actually have a role out of one of the PR companies in New York right now. So I get to touch a lot of the different agencies, which is really cool.
Amazing. Publicis happens to be one of the largest holding companies in the world, I believe number 3. I don't know if that was as of 2018 when I interned there. It was 3 at the time. Super well known, a lot of great agencies. I think like the cream or the one everybody knows. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Is Leo Burnett. I think that's one of the famous ones in the group. Not to say that's the only one, but people think creative agency, Leo Burnett, Publicis, and I'm curious, what is ARC?
Oh, ARC is the sister, agency or arm of Leo Burnett that is retail shopper marketing focused. So they have their own clients. I think they have their own floor within the building, and they operate as their own entity that has all of the clients are shopper retail marketing focused. And then they have I know of at least one account for them as well that's 360, but I think primarily most of them are just on the shopper side of things.
What does that mean? What is shopper side of things? I've never worked for a shopper agency.
Yes. So they handle it's like the like in-store displays, right? Or product, like the actual like product or the label or like the paid media rollout, the things that or out of home.
Okay.
The different like executions that would come for like something that was more shopper or would be like at like a retail store versus doing like TV or things like that.
Makes sense. Yeah, it's in the name. Awesome. And is that a new agency? Did it rebrand? I think did it have a previous name before that? Are you aware?
I think they've been ARC for quite a bit. I mean, as long as I would say I've been around advertising for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, and it's been ARC for as long as, I've been have been in the business.
Okay, I might be mistaken then, but okay. So you're a creative recruiter at Publicis. So, and that's all agencies and organizations, or just a couple of those main ones?
All of the agencies that would fall under the creative like collective.
Ah,
So, but I would say my bread and butter, my primary, things that I'm working on have all been Leo Burnett or Arc
mhm,
Worldwide focused.
yeah. Okay, so being from Chicagoland, as early as I can remember, I think everybody that I mentioned since high school, I was like, I want to be in advertising, and everybody's like, oh, I know Leo Burnett.
Hmm.
That's like the one in Chicago, right? And like, yeah, that's the one. So that's a big name in Chicago. However, I want to hear you from your perspective on like what you do at Leo, because you weren't always at Leo. You're at other agencies as well. So I think on this episode we'll go into what you currently are doing as what is a creative recruiter doing, and then we'll go back to how you got there. So tell us about like, what's a day in the life as a recruiter at Leo Burnett, at ARC, at Publicis.
Yeah, it's a crazy time for recruiters right now too. It's very busy. And there's a lot of changes and it's very, very fast paced. So I will get notified from somebody, in finance or a resource manager that we have an open approved role. And so my role now is full life cycle recruiting for early careers. So I do, the whole process. I start with, sourcing books to giving the offer and then getting the person onboarded to their first day. So I will, I'll source books. I'll be in touch with candidates. I'm on the phone a ton, just chatting with people, talking to them about roles, building a pipeline. Sometimes I don't even have roles in mind. I just think somebody's awesome and want to talk to them so that when something comes up, we already know each other. And so building that sort of like pipeline and network. And then I also do a lot of the freelance recruiting. So that is much more fast paced because it has an immediate need to it. So those pop up literally daily where it's like, hey, I need an art director by, tomorrow or in a couple days. So then I sort of have to put all of my full time hires on pause for a moment while I go and source, specifically for an art director who has, a digital background that's available and
Hmm.
within the rate, and then talk to them and then get them to the hiring manager and then get, the paperwork going. So it's a lot of multitasking and it's a lot of living in the gray and sort of just smiling through the chaos, I would say
What do
is,
you
yeah.
what do you like better, recruiting for full time or for freelance? What's easier? What do you like better?
Oh, full time for sure. I love full time hires because it's you get to know somebody and you get to talk to them more in depth and you have more information about the role and you get to chat about things and make sure they're the right fit versus freelance. It's a fire drill every time. But that's also part of the rush, right? Is that immediate gratification of like, I did this, I filled this, like woohoo, on to the
Hmm.
next. So it's kind of fun to be able to do both, to just it's really a change of pace. So it keeps you on your toes and it keeps every day very, very different.
That's so interesting to me. And um, you said you specialize in early careers when you're doing full time hires.
Yes. So for Leo arc, that's sort of what my focus is going to be. So I'll be hiring specifically for juniors and mid-level talent and focusing on campus and university relationships too and building out the internship program.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
That's
my
exactly
favorite.
who our audience is.
I know you guys are my favorite. I This is my favorite thing to hire for, hands down.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, it's a great time. I think as a recruiter, I feel like it's got to be fun talking to all these ambitious young people that are refreshed and aspiring to be in the industry.
Absolutely. And I'm a very, transparent person. So I love to have very, very open conversations with, people trying to break into the industry and just, what do you want to know? How can I help you? Even if especially since I'm doing so many, early careers in university and meeting people and staying in touch with them for so long that when they get to the point where it's their first job and it's not even with me, but they'll still give me a call so I can talk to
Hmm.
them like, hey, let's go through the offer together. I can talk to you about, hey, this salary seems low, or you should ask them about this, or this is a great offer. Are you happy? So I love just being able to be a resource to help people,
Yes.
get their first role and feel confident and feel good and feel like they're, making the right steps and set up for success.
You might meet some of these people like their freshman or sophomore year of college, right? Like sometimes really early for those who are super committed and know what they want. So by the time they get a first job, whether it's with you or not, you probably got some relationships with these people that are strong.
Definitely. Oh yeah, I mean, that's one of the big things about, the last year that I really missed was being able to travel to the different career fairs at the universities and meeting all of these creatives in real life and, being able to look somebody actually in the eyes and form a relationship and, the exchanging of a business card even or a resume or something fun and just sort of staying in touch.
Of course, of course. I feel like people probably swarm the Leo Burnett booth when you go and visit campuses like pre-COVID or even FCB because I know you work there too. So
Yeah.
how do you like manage all of that when I'm sure you how many emails do you get a week from people that are interested in jobs? Like how do you sort through that in this type of role?
I get so many. It's a slow process at times, and I apologize every time. I'm just if I take a little bit, I try to always respond, even if it takes a while. LinkedIn it takes longer for me to get to, just because I get so many like friend requests that have messages attached to them. So then I have to go through and then and then go back and message them. But I try to do it to everybody who sends me a note. But I get a lot, but that's kind of my favorite way to fill my time honestly is of course I'm looking for early careers but just talking to people too. So
Mhm.
when people are messaging me or just saying like I love meeting you at the career fair or hey like I need a job, I'm just like hey do you want to talk, like I may not have anything right now but let's just get on each
Right.
other's radar and that's how the
Yeah.
friendships are made.
Well, as a proof point, I think I LinkedIn message you, so it's a
Here we
connection.
go.
So
See
that
here.
worked. You
Here we
got
go.
back and we're here now. So you're not lying. There is proof to that this is happening because of that.
It's
So it's
real.
simple LinkedIn message. So you don't mind when you have the time, you'll try to get back to people. I
Hmm.
mean, is there any um so you've seen a lot, like is there any like that like red flags or like if they're just too blatant, like, hey, I want to work at Leo, what can I do? Like what does anything like that happen, or are usually people pretty good? They just want to have a conversation first, or what have you seen?
No, people are pretty bold and I don't mind boldness. I guess red flags would be I really dislike when a early like somebody's looking for their first, job or whatever and they're like, "Hey, I'm a creative director. This is what I'm looking for." I'm like,
For their
"Hey, I
first
think."
job?
Yeah, and I'm like, "I think you're looking for a junior position." They're like, "No, I'm a creative director." You're like,
Wow, good for them. They're a creative director
right.
right away.
Maybe we should hop on the phone and just chat about maybe structure, which is cool. Like it's your first job, but like maybe do a little research. Or
Yes.
people who I like emails that show that you looked up who I am or where I work, right? Like, hey, I see you work at Leo. I loved the course cloning ad. It really was amazing. I think this is really cool. I'm like, great, like thank you for knowing my recent work. I think this is awesome. Or I had
Mhm.
somebody who had in their subject line the name of a menu item from where I went to college. I went to college in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And they were like, "Oh, hey."
Whoa, no
And,
way.
yeah, and I was like, that's cool. You looked me up. You looked this, and you knew." And I was like, "This is cool."
Not a
Like,
little too far? That could not a little too far? Or
no,
that was good?
I don't think so. It got my attention because it was. I mean, dude, were you around when Hopcat was in Chicago for a little bit?
Who?
Hopcat. It was like a brewery restaurant.
Mm-mm.
It came from Grand Rapids and then it came to Chicago for a little bit. And they
Okay.
had this menu item called crack fries. And it was right before they had opened it in Chicago. And the person was just like, I love the crack fries. And I was like, hey, like you looked me up. This is cool. Like, thank you for
Yeah.
doing your research. No, not too far at all. I
Okay.
think that's great. I like when people show that they care and they put in some sort of initiative.
A little
Um,
effort. And
it
did they
just
just,
like
like, sneak their book in? Like, what's the strategy on that?
Yeah, yeah, I'll just be like, hey, I see you into, Grand Valley. That's awesome. I'm from Michigan. I'm a copywriter. I'm looking for my first job, or I'm in portfolio school. Would you want to talk sometime so we can, and I'd be like, yes, of course. Thank you for reaching out.
Nice. And that
Yeah.
one really, because of all the emails you get or all the LinkedIn messages you get, if one of them sticks out, like it says crack fries.
Yeah. It was so simple, but it really did the job. Somebody, it wasn't to me, it was to my creative recruiting partner at FCB. They created a whole bunch of memes with his name in it and that sent that as an email. And it like blew our minds. We're like, that's so cool. Like, what initiative to take to come up with these memes, to add the name, and to send that to somebody. It caught our attention. It got him on the phone with them immediately.
Right, right. But I mean, that doesn't guarantee a job or an internship, right? That's where
No.
the work comes in, obviously, and then the process after that. But that's like a good foot in the door technique.
Yeah, it'll get you on the phone for sure.
Yes. Okay. Then, so you have a lot of people that come and are always reaching out to you. Every time
Hmm.
you go to a fair or you do an online webinar, it's probably packed, or you have no shortage of talent. So when it is time to find, let's say, an internship candidate or a full time candidate, I don't know if there's much of a difference. We can go over that.
Yeah.
When it is time to hire
Mhm.
for a role, where do you start?
It's a good question. It depends on the role, of course. If it's something, more simple where it's, like, hey, this is just, I know this is going to be a 360 account. Somebody who has, work in their book. I mean, I'm not looking, of course, it's a junior. I'm not looking for you to have produced work in there, right? Like, obviously it's going to be student work. You're a student, like you're just leaving being a student. But just, having work there and that you can see that there's an idea in it, and that it kind of goes with whatever what the account needs, that it goes with the voice, that it goes with the tone, that it goes with the aesthetic, etc. So it depends, I'll, once I get debriefed from the creative directors on what they're looking for, skills, etc., I'll, sometimes I'll go to my
Mhm.
email, and see who, comes to mind or who's sent me things recently. That's really how it works. Like, who's top of mind for me, of who's recently reached out, that I can be like, oh, hey, like this person just reached out. I know they're looking. They might be a great fit. Let me see if they're still available. So I'll do like a little bit of like a search through my inbox, and then I'll go to
Mhm.
LinkedIn. I'll search through there. I'll use a lot of the different, the avail list, or a lot of the different diversity websites that have come out, and I'll go through those databases and see who's available and who might be a good fit, and then reach out and see who is interested and wants to chat about it and who might be a good fit.
Gotcha. That's gotta be overwhelming. I
Eh,
don't know. I feel like with all the
mhm.
people you know and just all the networking you're doing all the time and all the resources and all the directories out there and hundreds of people that are looking for jobs all the time, I feel for you. Like I think that would be it's obviously rewarding to find the right person and super interesting, but I feel like I'd be overwhelmed.
It's definitely hard, but you get to be a detective, right? You're solving a case. You are putting, the puzzle pieces together truly.
Ah.
It's really, that's how I really feel about it. It's a lot of detective work, right? Like, it's finding the right book, looking at their things, making sure it's right, getting them on the phone. Yeah, somehow I'm on their social media page because it was linked. Here we go. Like, let me get them here. And then finally, like, getting that missing, puzzle piece and being able to extend an offer. And it's, I mean, it's definitely difficult, but it's so much fun. And I love, just like as a person, I love helping people. And that is the best part, is that, especially with like juniors, because I'm helping you, I'm getting you in the door, I'm helping you get your first job, I'm
Mhm.
changing your life. And
Yeah.
it's like the
Oh,
best.
there's it's gotta be. It's gotta be so
It's so
rewarding.
good.
That's awesome. I might wanna do that someday. Okay. So how did you get here? Let's bring it back a little bit. So you
Okay.
went to Grand Valley State. Is that correct or did I mess that up?
You're right. Yeah, Grand Valley State University in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay.
Um,
What did you study there? How did you end up to where you're at today from college?
by total accident, I have a degree in theater and communications. I fell in love with stage acting when I was 7. My mom signed me up because I was extremely shy and she needed to like break me out of my shell. And I absolutely just fell head over heels in love with being on stage and talking to people and being the center of attention. Crazy. And I went to, college for that. I worked professionally for a few years in Michigan, and then I decided to move to Chicago for a bigger theater market. And
Hmm.
I landed. I needed like a, survival job to get by. I ended up doing an admin assistant job at a tech startup,
How was
and
that?
it was really fun. It was I'd never seen anything like it. I just moved to, the big city, and we had our holiday party at, was it the Adler Auditorium? And it was just like the coolest, like glitziest glam. I loved it. And then my boss at the time left and she went to FCB Chicago as an HR generalist. And then she came back for me and brought me over to FCB as a creative coordinator. And that's sort of how I broke in.
Wow.
Yeah, total chance.
So your boss at Go Health
Yep, at Go Health. Yeah.
went to FCB
Yeah.
and then brought you with.
Yeah, she like came back from me one day. She sent me like a text. She's like, "Do you want to get lunch and talk about like a new opportunity?" And I was like, "Okay, sure." And then she was just like, "Do you want to come to an advertising agency?" And in my mind, I was like the ultimate like, I, as an actor, I feel like I'm a creative person, and
Yep.
um, I always, I was like, that would be amazing. I'd love to be in a
Mhm.
creative environment and atmosphere. And I was like, sure, this is great. And then it worked out.
Well, yeah, I think it's super interesting acting, theater, telling stories, becoming a character, living that um like that alternate world. I think that's like very similar to advertising, and I think that there's parallels for sure. So it obviously worked out, and FCB is like you just so happen to be at like a star agency in Chicago for sure. I think they just won a bunch of awards as well.
They did, yeah, they did amazing during award season. I had no idea. Being a coordinator for them meant that I handled all of the creative freelance recruiting for the agency, and it was a crash course in what's an art director, what's a copywriter,
Sure.
how, what's an executive creative director, what is the management, like how does this work out,
Mhm.
what's a book,
Sure.
all of that. And I was so fortunate that there was a senior creative recruiter, Taylor Stidehar. She'd just been hired, and she showed me the ropes, and she, taught me how to look at a book, how things work, and all of that. And I'm so thankful to her. She really guided me. And then there I just stayed for, almost 5 years, and kind of dabbled and was able to do, start to get into full-time recruiting, and then internship, campus. I did some resource management, and then made it back to the recruiting side of things before I just left.
Amazing. Amazing. And you've been at so you were at FCB for how long?
Just shy of 5 years.
Just shy of 5 years. And now you're at Leo,
Hmm.
and that's where we're at today. Interesting story. Very cool. So,
Yeah.
like big like what are the main lessons of that story for people out there? Like what did you learn? Like what can people take away from that?
You kn- you can find, I mean, you are more skilled in things than you probably know about, and just kind of maybe trust the process, because I never knew. I mean, I didn't know advertising was really a thing, right? Like I
Yeah.
knew, of course, there were ads on TV or in the newspaper, but I didn't know that was something you could do. Hindsight
Right.
probably would have gone into copywriting,
Yep.
but I didn't know, and then it. And people don't really go to college to become a recruiter, right? That's just like something that happens typically after the fact, and it makes so much sense that I trusted the process, and it's something that I get to combine so many of my skills with. It's thinking on my feet, it's improvising, it's, you know, having a human touch with everything that you do, and being, sensitive and sweet, but open and honest. And all of the things that I've learned from my acting background, I'm able to put into, a professional setting.
Right, right. And you're open-minded, right? If you
Yeah,
went into like your acting like career and you said you only wanted to do acting, like this is like the only thing you would have like all these blinders on your vision and you wouldn't even consider any other options you would never have gotten to advertising. So maybe even those people that are interested in advertising, maybe some of your advice is just stay open-minded. Like there might be other areas in creative communications or film or photography that might interest you as well. So that's
absolutely.
awesome.
There's so many things you can do. There are so many paths, and there really isn't a wrong one. So
Yeah. You'll figure it out.
yeah,
Absolutely.
completely.
I love it. Love it. So as a creative recruiter, so you've been doing this for over five years now, a little over 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, so you've seen how many books would you say? How many portfolios?
Oh gosh, I don't even know. I probably looked at, I don't know, maybe 100 today. I was all over the place.
Today?
I go through so. I mean, I have. I with the freelance requests, I think I had 5 different freelance requests that I worked through today. So I had to look through multiple books for each of those.
How
And
often how many minutes? I mean, we can do the math, but you can't be looking at them for very long.
no. It's, I today was a big day for me on LinkedIn Recruiter where I could type in, keywords to see who's open for work, who's looking for like a freelance gig,
Oh,
who's
okay.
all of that kind of a thing, who might have like retail experience or who might have, adult beverage experience or something like that. So it's I'm
Oh,
looking for
talk about those keywords. Like,
oh, oh
so
yeah.
you're saying like entry level people or anybody can just like, how do you optimize those keywords on your own LinkedIn page?
Yeah, people will put it in their like experience of you can like you have like your little LinkedIn bio where you could put like, hi, I'm Lauren, I'm a creative recruiter. I do a lot of,
Hmm.
brand recruiting for creatives. I art director, design, copywriter, and those are all different keywords so that when I'm searching for specific any of those could pop up. And so that's definitely a great way. Or when you put, Lauren works at, Publicis North America. She does creative recruiting. You can write a little blurb, and in there, those are also keywords that will pull when I use creative
Uh,
LinkedIn
and
recruit.
then also probably like all the roles that you've done, like in the experience section, like you probably just said that, like you can, I don't put anything in it, but you probably should, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
descriptions of your jobs, just load it up.
yeah. I mean, candidly, I don't really think I have much of my job descriptions on there, but
Right,
I'm
because
also
we're not searching for jobs at the
yeah. You're
moment,
not
but if
looking
you
for jobs.
were looking,
You can
that should be
absolutely.
packed.
Yeah, and I would also recommend if there's a kind of job you do want, right? Like I would try to put it in there so that that keyword might pop
Mhm.
for when somebody's looking.
Tailor it. Yep.
Hmm.
Okay. So we got that. But okay, continue with your portfolio search conversation because this really interests me.
Oh,
You said like 100
look.
today. I
Oh,
mean,
I
you
mean
might
a
be
lot.
exaggerating maybe, but like you saw a lot
Mm,
today.
I went through a lot of books. Yeah, I look up keywords. I don't spend a ton of time specifically for freelance. I really don't spend a ton of time. I will look to see if they have. I was looking for a book today that was a copywriter who has digital skills specifically for web, email, and banners, right? Yes. And so I was literally looking through books to see if people had examples of that type of work on there. And then if I would find it, then I would go through, find their email, send them a note. And like, if it, like made sense and was look good, but I would go through, I'd be like, okay, they have this experience that I need right here. Great. Let me find their email, send them a note and see if they're available.
Right. Because you're not really putting out like a big application, right? You're kind of just hunting down people.
Yep, yeah,
Pretty
not
much.
for freelance. I also like post something on LinkedIn, if I need to as well to see who will just apply to it to
Oh
say,
yeah.
hey, I'm available. Um,
Freelance alert, freelance alert.
help me, please, please, I'm drowning.
I love
Um,
those.
yeah, I know, I do them all the time. And
Got
then
it. Gotta do what you gotta do.
for full time, I mean, it's I take more time because it's a full time position. It's not just like a 2 week gig, but for
Yeah,
junior,
that's the real deal.
yeah.
That's the good stuff, like you
It's the
said.
good stuff. It's the
Yeah,
good
yeah.
stuff. And for junior, specifically, the first thing I do is I go to the About Me page That's my favorite part of a portfolio is,
Mine too.
yeah, you get to advertise yourself, right? Like there's no you're the brief. You get to have so much fun. Show me who you are, and it's a great way for me to see like, hey, like, oh wow, this person could really, fit with this team. Oh wow, they're using a lot of inappropriate jokes right here. Maybe it wouldn't mesh with this group,
Right,
Oh,
right.
they're more buttoned up. This won't be a fit. That
Tell
kind of
me
yeah.
tell me like something like is there anyone that sticks out like an about me page that you recall that you want to talk about or that was really interesting or just different?
Yeah. Oh, I think I'm pretty sure it was Yessie. I'm 99% sure. There is an amazing senior copywriter. Her name is Yessie Downs. She's
Shout
absolutely
out.
fantastic. And I'm 99% sure it was her. She keeps a running list on her About Me page of every time that she's rewatched The Office. And that's like her About Me page. Is just it'll be like
Oh,
the different
wait,
dates of
say that again.
it's like a running list of every time that she's like restarted watching The
Oh
Office.
my gosh. How many is she at?
Oh, it's so many, but it's just like it's so
People love
good.
that show. People
Yeah,
love that show.
it was super smart. Um, and it has
Yeah.
like yeah, like her favorite episodes. It has how many times she's watched it. It has her favorite character, her favorite
You can learn
line.
a lot about somebody about like we already know a good amount about her
Right? And I
just
was
from
just
that.
like, that one, I mean, it's been ages. Yeah, it was her. I just looked it up. Yep, it's been ages since I've even seen it, but that one sticks out as just like an awesome About Me page.
That is great. And that is just 'cause it's her. It really shows off her personality and in a
Mm-hmm.
fun, clever way. So,
Yeah.
get creative, and I couldn't do that. I feel like I would freak out, freeze up, never do it again, procrastinate, and then just go to sleep. That just intimidates me. I don't know where I would start. Like,
With what makes you you, right?
oh,
Like
I
what
try not
makes
to
you
be
different
me.
than everybody else?
Try to be somebody else. No, I'm just kidding.
You gotta be you. You gotta be you.
That's awesome. No, I have so much respect for people that create books. I haven't created one, but I mean, that's just a tremendous task. But okay, so you go
Yeah.
to the about me section.
Hmm.
Yeah, be clever about yourself. Like that's such a scary thing. So, anyways, where do you go next?
Then I'll go to their work, and
Of course.
then I will. Well, in there About Me, if they have like an attached resume or in it, if hopefully they'll say something where I can get like, oh, did they go to portfolio school? Did they have they done an internship? Not that that really matters, but it's just a good place for me to know, like, oh, they understand how an agency might work or whatnot. So
Okay.
look for that. But
So
I
internship or portfolio school, like
or
those
university.
are like those help. Like you're not gonna lie, you're not gonna sugarcoat it. Like those they do help a little bit.
Yeah, because you understand how the business works. But,
Sure.
in the last year, especially, there's been a big shift of bringing people with different perspectives and backgrounds, which is absolutely phenomenal. So it's less of a thing now of you have to have portfolio school. It's just something, sometimes I just like to look and know that, okay, maybe they understand how this process might go. I know this team is looking for somebody who has more experience coming in as a junior, something
Right.
like that.
Something a little bit heavier. Hit
Yeah,
the
they
ground running, like maybe where you don't have as much time to tutor or teach somebody on the job because there's not a lot of teaching on the job anywhere in advertising in any agency.
Exactly, and that's why I think the best way to kinda get your foot in the door is through an internship because you already know people, you see how things work, and it's like a more seamless transition because you kind of know how things are already operating.
Why do I feel like an internship is harder to get than an entry level job?
You
Is that
know
true? I
mm,
mean, it just seems so competitive because it's all at one time. Everybody in the world's applying at the same time for like the same internships. Whereas like entry level, they're opening at different times. You could look at different agencies. You could have these different connections. You never know when they're going to open up.
that's true. I mean, but I don't know that it's more competitive than a full-time job. I mean, for Leo, they say it's, 10-week job interview. Um, and that's how we really see the internship, and it was the same thing at FCB where it's you're treated like an associate or junior level employee at the company. You're not fetching coffee.
Right.
You
It's
are on
showtime.
assignments. Yeah, like you are showing off that this is what you want to be doing and that you have like the
It's a 10-week
It's
job interview. That's a
yes.
great way to that's a great way to think about it.
Yeah, it's like you have the drive to do this, and it's showing up early, it's, putting in the work, asking questions, networking. It's all of those things that come into it
Mhm.
where you wouldn't even get that on a normal job interview for, a position without the internship. It's
Yeah.
you're getting to talk to somebody for 30 minutes. But with the internship, you get to show your initiative, which is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. But if you don't, I mean, or you have some other internship experience at another agency, that helps too.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, because you kind
Yeah,
of get
you
how
got
things work.
yeah.
But I don't know. I don't really think that it's necessarily as complicated because there's more roles to fill than just like one junior copywriter position. You might have, five junior
Mm.
and intern copy, to bring in. So there's more. I think it's just everyone's graduating it or, looking for the same time frame, but I would say they might be equally competitive personally.
Okay, good to know. I just was thinking about that. I've actually, talked about that before, so maybe you proved me wrong.
Maybe, I mean, maybe, I don't know. This year especially was really difficult because, as mentioned, the market's crazy right now, right? With people hiring and everyone looking for jobs, and
Yeah.
it's nuts. And we faced an issue where it was, our interns kept taking job offers where it was every day almost. It felt like somebody was like, "Hey, I have to drop out. Like I
Oh,
have."
like during the internship?
Like leading up to it, it was just like, "Hey, like got a job. Sorry, gotta
That's
go."
crazy.
Or we hired some of the interns beforehand where it was like, "Hey, we got a full-time job. Do you just want to like transition over to this and then we'll."
Hmm.
So it was wild.
Is that 'cause, jobs are, like, opening up? Like, what you're talking about, like, this past
I think so. I think that was a big piece of it. I hadn't faced that specific before. I think it was just because everything opened up and people are hiring again after sort of a year of being on pause.
Sure, sure. And where are you guys at now? The internship is what month is it? What day is it?
We are June 30th.
Oh, so you're in the
And
middle of it right now. It probably started June 4th, ends August 4th. You're, like, in the heart of it?
it's like something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
We started a few weeks ago. So we are in the middle of it.
Into the thick of it, they
Into
say.
the thick of it.
It's a TikTok reference.
Oh, I know. I love TikTok.
I love TikTok too. I don't know how to advertise on TikTok. I don't like any of the ads on TikTok. I just scroll right through because you can see the thing pop up. So
I know.
maybe Leo Burnett can figure that out.
Yeah, maybe I'll get the interns on it.
Yeah. Um. So the okay. So where were we
Yes.
in the book searching process?
I don't know.
Okay.
We got off
So
on a
you said,
tangent.
okay, recap. You go to
Yeah.
the about me page, then you go check to see if they have like a portfolio school or an internship
Oh,
because
yes,
that
yes, yes.
just to know where they're at. And then you check the work. And
I'll
what do you look
start.
for in the work? Like 6 campaigns, 5 campaigns that are well thought out, like have legs that they can show concept, execution, and different aspects?
Yep, absolutely. I'll start with the top left one,
Right.
and kind of go from there. I generally won't go through every single one. I'll start
Who's
and then
got time for that? That's ain't
kind
nobody got
of
time.
right. Like I'll know pretty fast if it has legs, if the idea's there, if there's thinking there, and then if it's going to be a fit. And then I will, kind of, and then I'll reach out and see if somebody wants to chat and get them on the phone and go from there.
Are you more or less are you more likely to open their book if they have, like, awards, like the gold pencil or, uh, Young Shits?
No, I mean for me, no. I mean, if you're no, you're a junior. I mean, I think that's amazing, right? And it shows a lot of initiative that you were able to do that and win that, and that's amazing. But I don't really awards, especially at that level. I care about you and the work you're bringing to the table.
Love that. Love that. I think there's a lot of pressure right now for students and portfolio schools and people to think that you need to win awards, but that's not always it doesn't really translate all the time. You can have great work that doesn't win awards maybe because you didn't even apply or you didn't know about it. So,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that don't maybe they don't have the resources to apply, right? They can't afford the entry fee. They didn't
sure.
know about it.
They're not
And
cheap, those damn awards. You're stealing money. And if you wanna make money, make it an award show. Oh
I
my gosh.
it's insane. The entry fees are absolutely insane. and unnecessary personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so expensive. So no, I don't, awards, especially to junior level, that doesn't really do much for me. I'm looking for somebody who has an idea. It's honestly a big piece of hiring a junior for me is the conversation. I want to talk to you. I want to know that you care. I want to know that you are really passionate about this, and this is the career you want, and this is, this is the job that's going to be a good fit for you, and you're going to come in and knock it out of the park. And that you have a positive attitude, and that you're not going to likely be making a Super Bowl ad your first year, that it's probably going to be a lot of banner ads.
Sure. Yeah. How
I'd say
can you
that the
tell that
biggest,
in one interview?
you can tell by talking to somebody. You can tell.
There's no
Um,
way. You got to have like 5. How many interviews in one junior copywriting role? There's got to be like 100.
does that, wait, that I have, or that the copywriter would have to get the position?
Yeah, like if I'm going to be if I'm applying for a junior copywriter,
Hmm.
are you the first person I talk to, and then where do I
Yeah.
go after that?
You would talk to me, and then likely you would talk to the hiring manager and maybe one or two more people on the team, and that would
Okay,
be about
that's
it.
pretty standard.
Yeah, I'd like to keep it short and sweet. Don't want too many cooks in the kitchen.
Sure.
I asked the hiring manager who needs to be part of this to make the decision, right? Like, who's the decision making team, and then that's who will get on the call, a video call likely now.
Right. And then are referrals big for your role? Like if somebody that's like a senior
Yeah. Oh,
creative director,
we
if
love
he's like,
referrals. Love them.
that's got to be like how you get to the top of the pile, and that's the way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think out of respect that, especially, whenever there's a referral, we talk to them on the phone, at least to just pipeline a network, even if there's nothing available, just
Sure.
out of respect for the person who's sending, the candidate. But I don't know. I wouldn't really say that's how you get on top of the pile, though, because a
Oh,
lot of the time those are not the positions that we have open that we can hire for.
that's a good point. Okay, interesting. Any other advice that we've been talking for a good amount of time now. It's been
Here we have.
amazing content. Any other things that are on your mind, like that you want to get out there, maybe like misconceptions about your role or when you're recruiting, any pet peeves or any red flags, anything you want to get out there to students because you're going to be recruiting them because we have the best audience in the world. Anything you want to tell them?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yes. I would say look up, find work that inspires you. Find it, on LinkedIn, Instagram. You don't need to pay for Adweek or Ad Age or any of that. Like, you can find the work posted all over. People are always posting, I did this. This is what I'm proud of. Find work that inspires you. Look up the agency that produced the work. Look up the creatives.
Mm-hmm.
Reach out to the creatives. What worst case scenario, they don't respond to you. Best case
Yeah.
scenario, you do, and you get a conversation with these kick-ass creatives that made this. Reach out to that recruiter. Talk to them. Find out more about that agency if they're doing work and you think it's somewhere you might vibe with. And stay in touch, right? Like, as mentioned, I don't mind people like reaching out to me or staying in touch with me. I think that's how you build a relationship. Be my pen pal. Like, keep me in touch. Send me a TikTok. Send me a picture of your cat. Like, let's keep up to date for when the right role comes up, and then we can work together. And it's not a nuisance. It's a nuisance if you do it every single day. Don't do that. You wouldn't
Yeah.
want anyone reaching out to you every day.
Yeah.
So, but like once a month, reach out to that recruiter. Stay in touch. Stay on the radar.
Yep.
And do it in a human way. Remember, we're all humans and we're all doing the very best we can. And I'd say
Love it.
that's my advice.
That was good. Well said.
Thank you.
All right. That's all I got. I think we can end it right there. That was fantastic. Lauren, thank you so much for coming on. If they need to reach out to you, what's your preferred way for them to reach out to you? LinkedIn?
Yeah, LinkedIn is great. And please reach out, say hello, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy to talk to you and answer any questions you have, and hopefully we can work together.
Yep. So tell Lauren Breaking and Entering sent you. Boom.
Yeah, do it. That'll be perfect. I can't
Yeah.
wait.
All right, Lauren, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. We'll have to talk again. So have a great night.
Great, thank you.
Thank you all for listening to this entire episode of the Breaking and Entering Advertising Podcast. I hope you enjoyed this week's guest. Make sure you go and connect with them on LinkedIn. Tell them that Breaking and Entering sent you. Now, thank you to Mikey Malarkey, our audio technician, and Buchun Zhang, our creative director, as well as the student team from the Midnight Oil Agency at the University of Illinois. Can't do it without you all. Thank you very much. We will see you all next week with another amazing guest.